to the 50th episode of Healthy Living with Marilyn. We'll see if you can fix it. Did you? See, he fixed it. Michael to the rescue. We were fuzzy, now we're not. I want to welcome you to our 50th show. This has been a heck of a ride, hasn't it, Judy? And Judy, even though she's not with me all the time, she's my business partner. She's not with me all the time on Healthy Living with Marilyn. She's always watching, supporting, checking out what the heck Marilyn's doing, what's going on. I can't believe we've made it to 50 shows, and you're my guest co-host on my 50th show.
That's what I was thinking. I get to be the guest co-host.
I am so excited.
Yes,
really
I
excited.
am too.
We have worked so hard. Now, we took off last week because it was Memorial Day. I did a Facebook Live with my grandson, Jacob, who is an absolute ham. Josie said to me, she says, "My God, he's a pretty cool co-host." It's like, yeah, he is. He's 3.5. He's a great co-host. I love the kid, really.
It was great what he did. He
Yeah.
was so on the mark, and he just spoke up.
He really was. He's a great kid. I want to get him on the show, too.
Yes.
So that's my goal. So, Tiffany, if you're watching, I want Jacob on the show. Me, my co-host. We'll make him sleep all afternoon or something. I don't know what we'll do. But anyhow, my name is Dr. Marilyn Scott, and I am the host of Healthy Living with Marilyn, and we've been on for over a year now. This is Series 4, Episode 6, and we are at our 50th show. And the reason why we've been on for over a year, but the reason why it's our 50th show, we take breaks every so often. You know, I mean, I need to take a break every so often. My crew needs to take a break. I want to thank my wonderful husband, Xenophon Scott, for being my audio guy for over a year. He is amazing. He is my rock. He shows me how wonderful it is to be amazing, that you can be amazing. And I really appreciate that, Xenophon, from the bottom of my heart. Love you dearly. And I want to thank my videographer over there, Michael A. Hall, who has been with me since the beginning, too.
He has been.
And he does, with his camera, he does my YouTube videos, and we are live. And I do my Facebook. We simulcast it on my Facebook with my iPad. So we are live, and we don't have a script. I have no papers. Judy has no papers. And my guest, Jennifer Einhoff, she has no papers either. And I'm so glad to welcome Jennifer to Healthy Living with Marilyn. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here.
I'm glad that you're here, really, because this is great. Jennifer and I have spent some time together before, and, you know, we've talked in length on certain things. And, you know, one of the things we wanted to talk about tonight is emotions. A lot of emotions going on, you know. I've had a lot of emotions recently with what I've been going on with my little grandson, and who I want to say, Banner, is finally home. I am so happy.
Banner.
Yes, yay, Banner. And he's not even supposed to be born yet. So, you know, he's home. He's safe. He's awesome. He's amazing. He must have gotten over the 4-pound weight gain that he had to get to. Because my little Banner only weighed 1 pound, 6 ounces when he was born. And he's a fighter. Why? Because his name is Banner. And he's named after Bruce Banner, the Hulk. And you can't beat that.
That's right.
And he was also born on St. Patrick's Day. I'm Irish. Donnie's Irish. And he's Irish. He's part Irish. So, and he's just an adorable little baby. He's my youngest grandson, my youngest grandboy. And I'm grateful to have all my grandboys. Grateful, grateful, grateful. My daughter, Christy, is going to have a little girl at the end of July. I'm so happy.
Oh, she's gonna finally a little girl.
Yeah, finally a little girl.
Those boys.
Yeah. So I'm really happy about that. But yeah, the biggest news for me today, other than my other news that I'm going to talk about, is Banner finally came home today, and I'm really happy. Really, really happy. It's good news that he's home. I'm sorry they live in California, but that's the way it is. That was another emotional roller coaster that I had gone through the past couple months. But I knew that he was going to make it.
Yes.
I just knew it. I knew it. And part of that emotion was just making sure that I was still doing the show, and, you know, we were staying with the status quo, and I was getting my book done, and, you know, all that culminating with Banner being in the NICU. and it was a big emotional thing. And you're a coach, right?
I am a coach.
You're a coach.
Yes.
Okay. And what is I know the name of your business, but I want you to tell them the name of your business.
The name of my business is Bold Whisper, and I am a clarity coach. So I work one-on-one with people to earn their clarity, to get moving on what has them stuck. And emotions are a big part of that. That's why I thought that would be a really interesting thing to talk about tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
We harbor a lot of negative emotions. There's a lot more negative. Sometimes there seems to be a lot more negative emotions than there is positive emotions. I don't know why. Maybe because we live in a negative world. I don't know.
Maybe it's the word harbor. Maybe the negative ones stick.
Yeah.
And maybe the positive ones are more fleeting. So maybe we're having the same amount, but we're letting some of them stick with us longer.
That could
almost
be.
like holding a grudge.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But then who would you be holding a grudge with? Yourself? Are you angry at yourself? Think about it, Judy. Are you mad at yourself? Are you sad for yourself? What are some of the things, what are some of the feelings that people have, and why do they keep holding on to them?
That's a really good question. When I was going through my coach training, I worked with a gentleman named Julio Olaya, who is amazing. And the school that I went to has been his school for 27 years. And one of the early transformational experiences I had going through that training was a teaching that he offered that to live in joy is joy as an emotion, but joy is also a state. So joy is living in a state of the love of life. It's just that simple. And it's fed by gratitude. Okay, this is good. We can understand that. If you're grateful, you're present to what's wonderful about life. So I was following along as he's saying this, but then he introduced this idea that when you're living in joy, emotions visit you, which I love that verb. They visit you. So sadness comes to visit. And sadness is an acknowledgement of loss or a fear of loss.
Right.
Well, if there wasn't something worth losing, that wouldn't be much of a life. So it's compatible. And in that moment, I was thinking about times where I had felt sadness and it was bittersweet. And I thought there was something wrong with me for finding sweetness in sadness. But there is a sweetness in it if it lives in joy. So this idea that emotions come to visit, it's the problem usually is when we don't let them end their visit and keep going.
Right.
They become a mood.
We want them to move through.
That's right. They come with wisdom. They come with something to tell us about our experience, about what we need to pay attention to that maybe we're not paying attention to. And good and bad emotions have some really important message to bring. But if we let them stick, they get rooted. So you had that experience where you sort of come up out of the water a little bit and you say, wait a minute, why am I feeling so anxious or angry or frustrated? And you play the game and you track it back and you realize 3 hours ago somebody cut you off in traffic. 3 hours ago you got a bad phone call. Yeah. That's no longer valid. It's not happening to you anymore, but you let that emotion root. And it's your state. And the other big revelation for me was this idea that emotions are a predisposition to act. So we experience our emotion in our body. We use our brain to interpret what that is. So you have that tight feeling in your throat. You decide whether that's fear or anger intellectually. And then you're making decisions about how to move. So if you were feeling angry and I said to you, what are you doing? You would hear an accusation because your predisposition is to...
to reel back.
Yeah, but if you were in a great mood, if you were really happy and optimistic, and I said, what are you doing? You would hear an invitation. Oh, she's up for something. Let's see what we can do.
It's like when you're angry, you're on the defense. And when you're happy, you're... I know, it's football stuff. But when you're angry, you're like on the defense. Yeah. And when you're happy, you're like on the offense.
Well, and there's a whole nuance to it, too. So when you're angry, your predisposition is to punish or to avenge. And when you're fearful, it's to defend, fight, flight, all of that is defensive.
Right.
So there are these very complicated predispositions that come with these emotions. There's an excellent book called The Unopened Gift by Dan Newby, and he talks about it, but in the back he has this whole glossary of emotions, and each emotion he uses language to describe the emotion and where it comes from, what it's predisposing you to doing. And so many people live in a tiny little range of 6 or 8 emotions that they're having over and over again, and they don't have words for the other things that may be happening to them where they have emotional habits and they're not accessing all of those amazing ways of being.
So they're like in a cycle. That they
Like
just
on a
keep
gerbil
going.
wheel.
Yeah, that keeps them confined. And they're not really living a complete life then.
No, especially what we talked about with rooted emotion. If you let it root long enough, it becomes your
And then you can get
temperament.
sick.
Yes.
Your temperament
You can get
is
sick.
absolutely, you can be sick.
You can get sick. You can be under stress.
Yes.
Any of those. Truly.
If anger becomes rooted and then becomes temperament, you're always seeking to punish. What kind of a life is that? There's no vulnerability with other people. There's no ability.
You're always unhappy.
Yeah, you're always unhappy and you're always pushing people away.
Speaking of not being unhappy, I finished my book, friends. I finished my book.
Yay.
This is the
Congratulations.
proof. Thank you. Be amazing. Powerful results are just a leap away. Yep, here's my book. Words inside. Truly. I worked really hard on this. I want to thank my editor. She's a lovely woman, Arlene Klein. She was great. She kept me going. She kept me motivated. She was very honest with things that I needed to change, and very, very, very helpful. Most helpful I've ever had with an editor. And her husband, Ron Klein, who is also my coach, wrote the foreword, and he also did the formatting. Arlene and Ron, you are such great friends. Ron is like my knight in shining armor. You know, he praises me when I do well, and he guides me when I go astray. And I appreciate you. Love you guys. And my book will be coming out very, very soon. And if you'd like a copy of my book, let me know. And if you'd like to come to my book launch, I don't know when it's going to be, email me your address, your physical address, because I will be sending out invitations. I'll be sending out snail mail. Who wants snail mail that's not a bill? Me, right?
Yes,
There
absolutely.
you go. So,
People have mailboxes anymore?
well, yeah, I do. I have a mailbox. So anyhow, somebody asked me if that was me on the cover. No, it's not me on the cover. It doesn't even look like me. But I told that person, I said, I would like to be up in the mountains and I would like to be able to do that, but that's not
Well, you
me.
did
I
do
see.
that when you wrote the book, though.
Yes, I did. I made a powerful leap, and it was wonderful. So be on the lookout for this. Check my Facebook page. I'll be talking more about it on Facebook. I'll be having it on Instagram, if you're with me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. What else am I on? I think that's about it, because I don't want to spread myself like mayonnaise. And I think I'm already spread like mayonnaise, so I got to pull some of that in. So anyhow, I'm real excited about this. This was like being in labor for a couple months, and I finally gave birth to it, and it's here. So I'm going to press publish, and I'll let you all know when you can get it on Amazon or when I'm going to have my book launch. So I'm really excited about that.
So you want to talk about your hair now? In celebration of completing your book?
Yeah, well, the reason why you might see a little teal here, I did text my younger daughter, because she used to have different color hair, and I sent her a picture of me, and she says, "Yay, Mom, awesome, way cool." So yeah, I went out on a limb and got some teal put in my hair, and the gal who did it, she matched the color, so it really matches well with my
She did
my
a
glasses.
great job.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
So that was my celebration. So I do have teal undertones on my hair, but it's not all teal. So that's my
Very
hair.
beautiful.
Yes.
I'll be wearing more teal because it coordinates with my glasses and my hair, and life is good, you know. And by the way, if you send your emojis, and if you are commenting, I will comment after the show. My iPad is like 10 feet from me, but send your comments, send your likes, send your loves, send your ha-has, whatever. I'm so glad that you guys are supporting me. This, like I said, this is our 50th show, and I just feel so fortunate to have you out there in YouTube and Facebook land. So it's been amazing. It's an amazing journey, you know. And to talk about emotions tonight, you know, I was going through that with writing my book, and Banner was in the hospital, and you know, it was a challenge, and it was God's way of saying, okay, you know, he gave me this, he put this on my plate. It's like, I would like a platter, I would like a dessert plate. I don't want this platter.
Yeah.
You know, can we make it from a platter to a dessert plate? Like a really small dessert plate, that's what I want, you know? And now it's getting back down to the dessert plate, which I feel really fortunate fortunate about.
Well, isn't it amazing that you've got your book